Hi, my name is Jane OLUWADARE. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm glad to see you here. Today we're going to be talking about workplace drama. Yep, office drama. Let's delve right into it. So you know how gist in the office and the drama and the tea and the stories, you know how it's always sweet until you're involved? Yeah, it's one of those phenomenon that we love to hear about. It suits something inside you to just get into the story, get into the flow. But if you have ever been on the other side of conflict and drama in the workplace, you know that it's not a good thing. So let's set aside our tendency to enjoy this thing and actually go solve that problem from the roots, because if office drama is going around in a workplace, in a team, it's only a matter of time before it reaches you. So if you lead a team or you hold a position of leadership at your workplace, here are some things that you can actually look at, lean into, to reduce all of the workplace drama, such that your workplace culture becomes more friendly, less toxic, and people are less likely to stay on edge and hide things and all of that, right? Okay, so let's get right into it. To start with, what does workplace drama do to your team members, and why is it important to tackle this problem? For starters, if workplace drama is a regular occurrence, people will start to pretend and lie about mistakes, and that is going to create a performance conundrum. So here's what happens. If they make mistakes, because they are afraid that they are going to become the butt of malicious gossip or drama, they are a lot less likely to admit to the mistake. So they will either try to fix it before somebody else sees, which is not such a bad thing, or they will try to pretend and deny and ignore the problem, pretend it never happened, and deny responsibility. The second thing that is likely to happen is, if things do not go exactly according to plan, which almost always happens. I mean, if you have ever managed a project, a task, manage people, you know that even the best plans do not always go 100%. But if something does not go according to plan and you need to fix it, you will find that your team members are a lot more likely to trade blame instead of trying to solve the problem. They are they become very fixated on making sure that the buck does not stop at their table. They're name calling, they're pushing responsibility, they're trying to absolve themselves of wrong. And if you've ever led a team through this kind of circumstance, you know that all that does is that you keep going in circles. The problem does not get solved, it is likely to be repeated, and everybody's just angry. So how can we, as leaders, eliminate workplace drama? How can we eliminate the propensity for drama at work? So I'm not, before we get deeper into this, let me say upfront that I'm not against being friendly in the workplace, and I definitely enjoy banter in the workplace, healthy, respectful banter, something that is not teasing the other person at the expense of their feelings. If they express that, oh, I don't like this, to stop. That is a different, that's very different from what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the gossip that happens where the person walks into the room and everybody keeps quiet, or there is a group chat that exists outside of the official group chat where almost everybody in the team is on that group chat except one or two people, and on the group chats they talk about the others that are not there. You get this kind of very nasty situations I've seen, and like I just hope it's not you and it's not your team, right? So how do we make sure that this does not happen? It does not become a culture thing or a commonplace problem when we lead teams or execute projects. Number one, prepare for politics of human beings. Human beings are social animals. Maybe okay, human beings are social beings. They will talk, they will interact. And so once your workplace starts to grow beyond just you, and there's another person involved, and another person involved, and another person involved, what happens is that the uniqueness of interaction between it, like any two individuals, is going to contribute on the whole to the workplace culture. So if you have 4 people, each of those 4 has a distinct relationship with the other 3, and that distinct relationship, each of those 4 has a distinct relationship with the other 3, and that distinct relationship that they have with the other 3 is going to create the framework for the 4 of them working together. So as the team expands and you're adding more and more people, what happens is that the complexity of that relationship increases. So it is inevitable that some will like one another more than they like. Some will like everybody likes some people more than some people. And the larger the team, the more evident that is. So you need to be prepared that this will happen. And then because of the everybody relates with each person differently, when your team, especially when your team grows and expand, you need to sit into it and make sense of the fact that growth will create room for bias, for nepotism, and for discontent. And it is especially so if there was a promotion recently in the team. So what happens is, when there's growth, when there's a new person and the dynamics are changing, everybody needs some time to figure out their place in the new dynamic. They need to figure out whether they're still where they stand on the existing hierarchy, whether they've moved up or down. They need to understand whether the quality of their work is still being perceived as it were. So you know how you think some people are high performers because they are the best on the team, then you add somebody else to the team and you realize, okay, they may be just above average at best. It's a perception problem, a relative problem, but it looks the way it is because now there is somebody else. So inevitably, when you add somebody to the mix, sometimes it's just a simple scenario of there are things about one person you did not notice before, but because there's now somebody else to create a contrast on the team, you start to notice it. So things like that. And then when you consider that when you act based on your experience, the things you know, you've learned, you've experienced. When you perceive other people, you perceive them through the lens of your bias. And this is the truth for any single human being. We act through the lens of our experience. We perceive other people's actions through the lens of our own bias. So given the increasing complexity of the relationship between your growing team, it makes sense that bias can very quickly become systemized. If you have 2-3 people that are biased in the same direction, bias becomes very quickly systemized because those people will not see themselves as biased. Not everybody is self-aware and always conscious of the fact that every action that they take and everything they perceive, they're acting from their experience and interpreting from the lens of their bias. So as your team grows, you need to make your peace with the fact that there will be an increased breeding ground for discontent, for bias, and for nepotism. Now, the human brain is wired in such a way that it does not want to have to keep making the same sequence of choices every single time. So if it makes a particular choice in favor of one thing, like 2-3 times, that neurological pathway just becomes sort of codified, and it becomes like your default. Unless something significant happens to change that default, or unless you consciously go into decision making saying, what are the facts? I'm only going to act on the facts and I'm not going to allow my bias to influence me. Unless that is the stance you're taking very consciously, and that takes deliberate effort and intention, we will default to our biases. When bias is on a large scale, it becomes systemized and it sets up the room for nepotism. So this is just humanity being like humanity being human, literally. So make your peace with the fact that it can happen. Now, what can you as a leader start to do to make sure that biases does not lead to discontent in your team and then create unnecessary drama? Model fairness. For example, let me use myself as an example. there is a team member that is pretty much intelligent. I can say that it's almost like she reads my mind. I start to say something and she catches the vision immediately. She's coming back to me with examples and action plans, and I'm looking at what she's sharing with me and what I wanted to share with her as, so these are your next steps, and it almost tallies. So I know, I'm conscious of the fact that I am biased towards her, and I am very likely to overlook mistakes she makes. On that same team, there is someone that I often have to explain things to over and again, and then still handhold her through our work to achieve the level of excellence and near to perfection outputs that we're looking for. And this is after paying for trainings. I am saying, okay, this is your learning curve. This part is not your strong point, and so we might have to do a reshuffle and move you into a role that is more aligned towards your natural skills and strengths. But it is tempting to get irritated easier with the person that needs hand holding than the person that almost always comes with fire and attacks whatever vision and mission you're handing out with gusto, right? Gusto, rather. So it is up to me, when doing a performance evaluation, to start by setting a fair criteria, measurable criteria, where I can say we are going to measure performance based on the timeliness on the task, on the final deliverable, based on you're working with your colleagues, based on how many of your deliverables you actually met. You see that I'm listing out measurable metrics. So I'm not going to go with I think I like you, so I rate you 4 out of 5. I don't really like this person, so you give them a 2. No, performance metrics is not about whether you like them or not. It's about whether they are meeting a fair standard across board. So your responsibility as a leader is to set a fair measure across board, right? It's my responsibility as a leader to say these are positions that are going to open up within the next 1 year inside of the organization, and if you want to meet up with any of these positions, these are the requirements to step into each of these positions, so that when the time comes and we're considering people for promotion, we can go to the criteria that have been set. Oh, how long has this person been with us? How long have they spent in this particular program? Will they be able to handle it based on the performance metrics that we have diligently tracked over the past few months? Do they have the skills that is required for this role? Are they prepared? Have they gone through the training that we have determined is mandatory for this role? And I can make an objective decision based on the facts and the numbers in front of me, going by data analysis based on the, measurable metrics that we have set forth in the performance ratings at the beginning, and make fair decisions in spite of my own bias as a leader when considering these people. Because the criteria and everything that is being measured is clear upfront for these people, they themselves will see that you are fair, and it will be easy for them to make a reconciliation between the fact that this leader is human, has feelings, and likes this person more than this person, and the fact that this leader can be trusted to be fair. If they can trust you to be fair in spite of your emotions, so I'm not saying bottle your emotions or hide them, no. If they can trust you to be fair in spite of your emotions, they're a lot less likely to gossip about one person or the other behind the person's back. They will feel confident to say it to their face. They might not even come to you with it, but they will feel comfortable to say it to their face, because they're not going to feel like, oh, it doesn't matter what we feel or how we see or what we observe they would know that their work actually counts, it matters. And so that way you have created an environment and a culture of fairness and openness, and everybody can look at it and say, okay, this is what we're doing in this company and this is our culture, and they can trust it. Second thing is to model character. So don't be the person that is gossiping about a team member to another team member. If you need to speak about somebody, speak about them while they're in the room. If it is a leadership evaluation, let it go on record. And then let the person being evaluated have a copy. Yeah. Openness, fairness. Don't be the one. And don't be the kind of person that says, oh, because you like this member of the team, they now feel so comfortable with you that they can bring gossip to your ear. There's one of the teams I volunteer in. We have a leader that is notorious for this. So if you go to him and you say, so sir, this and this one happened, and this person said this and this person said that, as you are saying it, he will do one of two things. He will call the person you're talking about so that you can say it to the person's hearing. Or there was one that was even, a very large case, and they were mentioning names, and they were fine, and it looked as if the conversation was over. And the next thing we heard was that this leader in question simply created a group chat, added everybody whose name was mentioned, added the person that came to report, and then added people that were like close associates that could probably have been in that conversation, but their names were just not mentioned or just did not talk. And he added all of them into the group and said, so I heard XYZ. What happened? Who said what? And what is the point? The things that came out is this. We learned very quickly that if you have an idea, you go straight to leadership. You don't gossip about it. You go straight to leadership. We learned very quickly that if we felt dissatisfied with a decision, we could go straight to leadership and ask why. And we would receive answers and guidance, and there was nothing shoddy. And it was so profound that I then took on that lesson and started to embody it. My ears are not for gossip, no matter how juicy the drama sounds. If you can't say it in their front, I don't want to hear it. If the gossip reaches you, cut it down. If you keep doing that, workplace gossip, cut down radically. I mean, you've been fair, you've been upfront with your metrics, and you're not encouraging the culture. And on a final note, speak kindly to people. There is a difference between what is the meaning of this nonsense you always do, and could you walk me through your reasoning? Is there a reason you did this way? Or even going directly and saying, what you have sent does not meet the standards or the objectives of this task. I would like you to look at A, B, and C, redo it in this direction, and send me an updated copy. Firm, clear, they understand what is going on. In the case of questions, you understand why they did what they did. In the case of being direct, they understand where you stand, and you're not talking at them or down at them. So no matter how far below you they are, whether in age or in rank or in responsibility or whatever it is, you speak to people with respect and kindness, and you can expect that they will put forth beautiful, excellent work that you will be proud of as a leader, and things like workplace drama become a thing of the past. I hope this was helpful, and I hope this helps you restructure your team for a healthier workplace culture. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Yes, we are very big on sharing. If you have questions, drop them in the comments. We'll be happy to answer. And of course, I keep writing about this. More often than I make videos, I write. So you might want to get into our newsletter community for business development, and you will get tools, you get tips, you get hacks, you get frontline access to some of our programs and courses and classes. And we just want to see you succeed. I am Jane. I keep rooting for you. Bye.